Having good arm and wrist structure in the golf swing is an absolute game changer, but for many of you, finding the correct position for the arms and the wrists can be quite complex and elusive, leading to lots of frustration. Today I'm going to share with you a really simple drill to help you build good arm and wrist structure in the backswing. So I promised you a simple drill, and that's exactly what this is. I use this all the time to help all golfers of all levels, but particularly newer golfers who struggle getting the arms and the wrists correct in the backswing. I'm going to take the club from setup, it's position 1, to position 2, and in doing so, I'm going to build in the arm and wrist motion that I want to occur throughout the backswing. So I'm going to take the club. There's a couple of important checkpoints here that we're going to walk through. So the first thing we're going to do is keep the butt of the club, the top of the club, on top of the ball. Okay, so I'm not going to start moving the club away from me, and when I flex my wrist, I'm not going to start pushing the club away or forwards. I'm going to keep the butt of the club on top of the ball. And as I bend my trail wrist backwards, I move the shaft to this parallel to the ground condition where it's pointing down the line. So I have my right wrist bent backwards, and in doing that, I'm creating a club face that points slightly down towards the ground here at position 2. That club face, that leading edge, more or less matches my spine angle, and that's quite a nice little checkpoint for you. That stops you from over twisting the club too closed or twisting the club the wrong way and opening the club face. So we're moving the club from P1 to P2 using the wrists, keeping the butt of the club on top of the ball, keeping the club face turned down slightly with this right wrist bend. And the final thing that we're doing as we move the club into that position is I'm making this movement with my trail arm, which is called external rotation. It really is the feeling of losing an arm wrestle, losing an arm wrestling match, moving my right elbow more in front of me. So I take it from its original condition where it's on my rib cage, pointing at my right side here. And as I bend it back, bend my wrist back, I push my elbow more in front of me to point, feels like it points more down towards the target. Once I've built that structure in, there it is. Butt end of the club on top of the ball, club face pointing slightly down, right wrist bent, elbow forward. There's a real sense of squeezing my arms together, something that I think you need to understand. Good golf swings have more structure to them than less. The idea that you should be loose and the arms should be allowed to go wherever they want is simply nonsense. It causes lots and lots of issues with your ball striking. So we're building in some structure here, wrist bends, elbows and arms, and now from here, all I've got to do is turn my left shoulder under my chin, tilt down towards the ground, and I've built in the desired wrist and arm structure that I want at the top of the swing. I've built that in down here. So at P2, I've got everything lined up and ready. Now I just need to tilt and turn and extend. There's my backswing. It's an excellent exercise for you if you're struggling to know where your arms and wrists should go. And it's a great exercise because you can start to hit balls with it. You can actually build the drill, hold the position, and then go up and hit. And you'll start to develop an understanding of exactly where your hands and arms should be in space. And for those of you that need a little bit more help with the structure of the arms, the aptly named Structure Ball from Watson Golf is a training aid I use a lot, which helps with that sensation of squeezing the arms together. It sits nicely between your forearms, and it really allows you to do this drill to the point where you're not going to allow your arms to overflex. You're not going to allow them to pull apart. Keeping the elbows close is a really important part of building that arm structure in the backswing. So once again, I can do the same drill, keep the butt of the club on top of the ball, club face pointing slightly down, right wrist bent back, elbows squeezed together. And as I finish the backswing, I have to keep my elbows and my forearms very, very close. This teaches the structure that we're looking for in the backswing. It stops you from getting too loose with your arms, which, as I've already touched on, is causing you lots of issues in terms of the consistency of your ball striking. So if you feel like you need some extra help with the arms, the Structure Ball from Watson Golf is a great option. Stick around for a discount code at the end of this video if you're interested in one. But you can also use anything that's soft and place it between your arms to give you a sense of having something there to hold and squeeze. Some of you may have seen a similar small balls used like this between the forearms. The smart ball is also a great training aid. The Tour Striker smart ball I've used a lot before, which is the ball that you see a lot of the tour players use when they practice. Just blow it up and it sits somewhere between the forearms. Depending on the size of your arms and the size of your training aid will depend exactly where you're going to position this. But what you're looking for is enough resistance there, a sensation that you have to squeeze to keep the ball between your arms. And if you went too far or pulled your arms apart, you would drop whatever it is you're holding in between. So this is an addition to the drill. The drill on its own is great, and as I say, I use it so often. Beginner golfers love it because it really helps people to understand how the wrist should bend, how the arm should move, and then how the body pivots with that arm structure. You can very, very quickly start to show someone good backswing technique. So one time with this smaller ball between my arms. This one's a bit harder to do, but we'll give it a go. Set the wrists, elbows together, squeezing, club face slightly down, butt of the club on top of the ball, right wrist bent back. Back we go. And on that one, because I'm having to squeeze my arms together so much, I stopped quicker, kept that punch feel to my follow through, which I talk about in a lot of videos, and hit the ball really, really solidly. If you're struggling with your ball striking, I really encourage you to give this drill a try. It's extremely useful and extremely easy to do. Those of you familiar with the channel will know that I featured the structure ball from Watson Golf in previous videos. It's a training aid that I really like because it really works. And if you'd like to get your hands on one, our friends at Watson Golf are giving you 15% discount. If you click the link down in the description and use the code GRIDLIFE, you will get 15% off your purchase of the structure ball from Watson Golf. I know many of you have already purchased one of these off the back of my previous recommendations, and I'd love to hear from you how you're using it. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you're doing when you're practicing with it. Let me know other drills maybe that you've discovered, and also any videos you'd like me to shoot using this training aid to help you develop your skills even further. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, do make sure you hit that like button. I shared there with you the movement from P1 to P2, which is that starting point of the swing, and then I turned to the top of the backswing. If you want to learn how to do that bit properly, moving from P2 to P4, then you're going to want to check out this video next, which explains how to do the turning, the tilting, and the extending perfectly.